Hello everyone, I welcome you all in the course of high voltage engineering. So in this particular session we will see the comparison of high voltage AC, extra high voltage AC and ultra high voltage AC transmission system. So after attending this course, student will able to know the basic idea about transmission of bulk amount of power. Also, students will able to know the variation of AC lines surge impedance loading with the voltage, power handling capacity of the transmission line, power losses of the transmission line, and comparison of high voltage transmission lines, various aspects like what will be the power handling capacity losses, and as well as what are the requirement of right of way, how high voltage reduces volume of conductor material. So before making any delay, just I will start the session. So this already we have discussed in the last lecture, that is what is high voltage. Voltage at least above 1 kV will come under the category of high voltage, and these are the classifications of voltage as per their voltage level. So transmission of bulk amount of power, that we all know that three phase power we can write like 3 Vp Ip cos phi, and single phase power similarly Vp Ip cos phi, and three phase power will be 3 times Vp Ip cos phi. So in terms of line voltage, power equal to root 3 VL IL cos phi, and line current will be power upon root 3 VL cos phi. So we can able to see from this basic equation, as the voltage level increases, that current level got reduced. So as the current level will get reduced for handling same amount of power, that losses of the transmission line will get reduced, and the efficiency of power transmission got enhanced. So the question is that for a high voltage transmission line, that how much we can load. Okay, so how much we can load, that it will depend upon the surge impedance loading or surge impedance of the transmission line. That what is surge impedance? That the characteristics impedance of a lossless line is known as surge impedance. Surge impedance loading, it is the power transmitted when a lossless line is terminated with resistance equal to surge impedance of the line. This indicates the power that can be delivered, maximum power that can be delivered. It is in the useful in transmission line, useful in the transmission line design. So this surge impedance loading aspect is very useful while we are designing any transmission line. So we will see in the detail how we are determining the surge impedance loading also. So basically in AC transmission line, that AC power transfer capability is limited by its surge impedance, and AC line generate as well as consume reactive power. So in AC transmission line there is two main components, that is inductance and the capacitance, formed due to the difference between the high voltage and ground. So capacitance, parallel capacitance is formed between high voltage transmission line and ground, and due to the line reactance, there will be reactive, that inductive reactance will be there. So the load on which a reactive power produced equals a reactive power consumed is called its natural loading. Natural load of an AC line may be given by the surge impedance loading, that is equal to V square upon ZC, where ZC is the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. So how we can able to determine this ZC, that we can able to see that in the AC line, AC lines produce and consume reactive power, which is a serious problem. If an overhead AC line has a series inductance of L NAD per unit length and shunt capacitance of C farads per unit length at operating voltage V, bearing current I, then reactive powers produced by the AC lines and consumer load are given by QC. Of course, this inductance and capacitance are the frequency dependent term. So from there we can able to determine that reactive power produced by the capacitor will be omega CV square, and reactive power consumed by the that inductance will be omega L I square. So characteristic impedance or surge impedance we can able to determine by comparing these two. So we can able to get that characteristics impedance will be equal to impedance means V by I will be equal to root under L by C. So natural power in the line is limited. Natural power in the line is limited to that V square upon ZC by the characteristics impedance. So this is the relation between natural power and characteristics impedance. We know that power equal to Vi, and here I equal to that V by Z. So we can able to write V square upon ZC, or in terms of V we can write I into Z. So V equal to I equal to Z, I into Z. So it is equal to I square ZC and equal to V square upon ZC. So this is the basic relation between characteristics impedance and natural power. So also we know that maximum power flow in HVAC line is limited by the reactance of the line, and it will depend upon the delta. So power equal to V1 V2 upon X sin delta, and the maximum steady state power is can be determined from this formula, and the maximum value of this will be 1 at delta equal to 90 degrees. So maximum steady state power limit is equal to V1 V2 upon X. So generally in high voltage AC lines that delta is operating near about 30 degree due to synchronism of relays, and extensive use of series capacitor may increase power transfer capacity up to 150 to 250% of the natural load limit. So similarly, if we will determine the power transfer capability from this formula, we can able to get for the various high voltage, extra high voltage and ultra high voltage transmission lines. So for say for example, for high voltage 132 kV high voltage transmission line, that power carrying capability is 43 megawatt. And similarly for ultra high voltage like 1000 kV lines, the power carrying capability is 4300 megawatt. Like this we can able to determine, we will determine this particular lecture also that power handling capacity of the various transmission level voltages. So that one researcher have developed the formula to quick determination of surge impedance loading. From this, the students may refer this to know the detail of finding surge impedance loading directly from the kV rating, and as the voltage level increases, surge impedance loading got increased. We can see this from this formula also, that surge impedance loading is equal to V square upon ZC. So as the voltage level increases, this surge impedance loading get enhanced. So as we are increasing the level of voltage, this surge impedance loading got increased. So AC lines are normally loaded to twice of their natural loads, which may go as high as thrice of natural loading during emergency. And natural loading capacity of high voltage line varies exponentially with rise of voltage, as shown in this figure. Increase of natural loading limit with an increase in voltage level on HVAC line is shown in this figure. The natural, normal and emergency loading capacity of a 436 km long 765 kV HVAC line using 6 Jebra conductors per bundle per phase are determined, and which is equal to 2364, 5152 and 6837 megawatt respectively. So this is just for an idea how much power can be transmitted by the high voltage transmission line. So for a three-phase, we have already seen that it will depend upon that V1, V1, V2 upon X sine delta. For the M phase, now some countries have started the transmission in 6 phase, and they are doing research on 12 phase transmission lines also. So as we can able to see that power handling capacity for N phase will be equal to N V1 V2 upon 3x into sine delta. This is for the three-phase line. We will know that the voltages are 120 degree apart from each other. Similarly, for 6 phases, it will be 60 degree, and similarly we can able to determine for n number of phases. So similarly, we can determine the surge impedance loading. That for the three-phase line, we can able to see the variance of surge impedance loading with the length of the lines, and for this is for the 6 phase, this is for the 12 phase. So now we will understand how to exactly calculate the transmission of power by a particular transmission level voltage. Like for high voltage transmission line, what will be the power handling capacity? For extra high voltage transmission line, how it is enhanced, and for ultra high voltage line, what will be the power handling capacity? So power handling capacity, we know that we have already seen that V1 V2 upon X sine delta. So here for the transmission line, we are seeing that ES is the sending end voltage and ER is the receiving end voltage. So and sine delta will be the angle between sending and receiving end voltage, and here X is the reactance per kilometer. So L and capital L is the length of the transmission line in kilometer. So this will be in X will be in ohm per kilometer and L will be in kilometer. So this will be in ohm. So generally for the cables and transmission line cables, that we have the reactance in per kilometer, and we need to see that how much is the what is the distance of the transmission line, means how far we have to send the power. So accordingly, we have to calculate the total inductive total reactance of the transmission line. So this is the inductive reactance, and if any compensation is there, so net reactance will be X will be equal to XL minus XC. So at that time we have to reduce the net reactance, and the power handling capacity get enhanced if we are using any compensation in the AC transmission lines. So these are the nominal system voltages as per the IS standard 2026, that 132 kV, 220 kV, 275 kV, 345 kV, 400 kV, 500 kV, 750 kV, and maximum operating voltage is this. So this is taken worldwide accepted as a standard voltage. Further, there are two more voltages are there, that is 1000 kV and 1200 kV, which is not yet accepted as a standard. So we will see that how we can able to determine the power handling capacity and losses in the transmission line if we want to transmit power. Say for example, we want to transmit 2000 megawatt power from Delhi to the South India. So say for example 2000 megawatt power we want to transmit up to 2000 kilometer. So what voltage level we should select, or if we are selecting 400 kV transmission tower, that what will be the number of transmission lines, and if we are using 765 kV transmission level voltage, so what will be the its impact on the number of transmission lines. So these all studies we will discuss now. So we know that power handling capacity is equal to ESER sine delta upon Lx. So for the transmission line, that send we are for the finding the that steady state power, that how much power will be handled. So we are assuming that sending end voltage is equal to the receiving end voltage, and it is equal to the voltage E. So we can able to write this power handling capacity is equal to E square sine delta upon Lx, where power is equal to root 3 EI cos phi. This is the in terms of line. So from here we can able to, since these two are equal, we can equate it, and we can able to find out the current handling by the transmission line. So this will be equal to E sine delta upon root 3 into Lx. So next is that once we are able to calculate the current, we can able to find out the losses. So for a single phase, it will be I square R loss. For the three phase, it will be 3 I square R loss. So here R is also given in the ohm per kilometer. So we have to multiply with the kilometer, that 3 I square RL. So here we are putting this value of I, and we are getting the value of power loss, that will be equal to E square sine square delta RL upon Lx square. So next we can able to find the percentage power loss. Percentage power loss will be equal to 100 P upon P, equal to 100 into this P is the loss, 3 I square RL, and this P is the total power we are transmitting. So this 3 I square RL we can write from the above equation, and capital P is the transmitting power, that is E1 E2 sine delta upon Lx. So here we have taken E sending end voltage and receiving voltage, both are equal. So E square sine delta upon Lx. So from here we can able to calculate the percentage power loss, which is nothing but equal to 100 into sine delta upon x into x divided by R. So for the stability consideration, that delta we have already discussed, we are taking that is equal to 30 degree. So this sine 30 degree equal to 1 by 2, so it will be 50 upon x by R. So here we have derived one important formula. So roughly percentage or percentage power loss we can able to determine from just two data, that is x by R ratio of the transmission lines cable, transmission cable. So if we have the x by R ratio, we can able to say that what will the percentage power loss. So total power is equal to this 0.5 E square upon Lx. Now this is the data some for average value of high voltage line parameters. Say for example, here in this uh, table we are comparing the four transmission voltage, that is 400 kV, 750 kV transmission level voltage, 1000 kV and 1200 kV transmission voltage. So average height of the transmission tower, if you will see, so this is varying like this, where the voltage level increases, this average height of transmitting tower is getting increased, and spacing between the phases is also getting increased accordingly. So say for example, for 400 kV spacing between the phases will be 12 meter, and for 1000 kV transmission line it will be 18 meter. So accordingly that size of the conductor will be also get increased, and bundle spacings will be like this, and resistance is also given in ohm per kilometer. So this is the data of one cable, that for 400 kV resistance is per kilometer, resistance is 0.031. For 750 kV transmission line, per kilometer resistance is 0.0136. So as so on, and similarly reactance is given in per kilometer basis. So from here, from these two data only, we can able to calculate the x by r ratio, and we can able to say the percentage power loss. The percentage power loss will be 50 divided by 10.55 for 400 kV transmission line. For similarly for 750 it will be 50 divided by 20. So we can able to say that this will be the percentage power loss if we are using particular level of transmission voltage. So percentage power loss, as we have discussed, that for the various transmission line we can able to find out. So we from this table also we can able to see that as the voltage level is increasing 400 to 1200 kilovolt, the percentage power loss is reducing from 4.76% to 0.584%. So this is the great advantage in the high bulk amount of power transmission. So that similarly we can determine the power handling capacity of the transmission line from this formula by taking delta equal to 30 degrees to 0.5 e square upon Lx. So this is 400 kV, 750 kV, 1000 kV and 1200 kV. So for I suggest students to just take the data and calculate this value of their own and verify this. So for 400 kilometer up to 400 length of the L, we have taken 400. So in this condition, we have to put here E equal to 400 kV. So it will be 400 into 10 to the power 3 into 400 into 10 to the power 3. So again it will be 400 kilometers. So here 400 kilometer and X we have taken, we have to take 0.327. It is the X for 400 kilometer for 400 kV. Sorry. So here we after putting this value we will able to get the power transmission capacity in megawatt. So this will be 611.6 megawatt. So as the voltage level increasing, so for 750, if the length of the line is same, we can able to see that power handling capacity is 2585.01. So similarly, we can able to see that as the voltage level increases, that power handling capacity got enhanced. So in other terms, we can able to say that one 400 kV transmission line can able to transmit 4 times can transmit 1/4 of 750 transmission line power. Meaning what? One 750 kV transmission tower can replace 400 kV transmission line. So if we are using 4 number of 400 kV, so this will be 600 approximately into 4, so 2400 something. So here it is 2585. So one 750 kV transmission line can able to replace 4 number of 400 kV transmission lines. Similar such kind of relations can be obtained from this formula, like how many 400 kV transmission line can be replaced if we are using 1200 kV of transmission line. So this is a great advantage of using high voltage, extra high, using ultra high voltage and extra high voltage in place of high voltage transmission lines. So also for the same amount of voltage, if we are increasing the length of the transmission, say for example, if we want to transmit 600 kilometer, now this L will get increased, so obviously this power handling capacity will get reduced. So we are getting reduced power handling capacity, that is 407.7 megawatt. Means if we are using same level of voltage and we are increasing the length of the transmission, that power handling capacity get reduced. So similarly for 1200 kilometer, if 400 kV transmission line is there, it can able to transmit only 203.87 megawatt power. So similarly such kind of relations can be obtained from this table. So we have seen that from the above calculations, one 750 kV line can normally carry as much as power as 400 kV circuits for equal distance of transmission. One 1200 kV circuit can carry the power of 3 750 kV circuits and 12 400 kV circuits for the same transmission distance. The power handling capacity of the line at a given voltage level decreases with length since it is inversely proportional to the power handling capacity, and percentage power loss decreases as the system voltage is increased. However, percentage power loss is independent of the length of the line. Environmental benefits: as the voltage increases, that current reduces and losses get reduced. As the losses get reduced, means energy loss will get reduced. Power loss reduces means energy loss will also get reduced. So this is some kind of saving of energy if we are using that high voltage transmission line. So it is reducing the that burden on the coal-based thermal power plant. So which is the highest, still highest producer of power. So in turn, which in turn that high voltage reduces the that burden on the thermal power plant, and it saves the environment. So to see to understand the concepts more clearly for the students, this data is very important that the students can refer that that what is the right of way. Right of way, I think you know that it is the distance which we are using in the placing of transmission tower, that what are the width at minimum width should be there. So for what is the cost of that right of way for 220 kV transmission line, for 400 kV transmission line. So as we have already seen, 765 kV transmission line can able to reduce 400 kV transmission lines. So accordingly, right of way, that length of the that line corridor will get reduced. Total length of the line corridor will get reduced, and accordingly cost will get reduced. So for some idea that if we can see that this is the data for 220 kV Asta Indore to line in MP. So length of the line is about 100 kilometers there, and width of the line for right of way corridor is 35 meter for 220 kV lines. So total land requirement for right of way will be this 100 kilometer, since power transmission is up to 100 kilometer, and this is in kilometer. So we are changing in meter. So in 2000 into 35 divided by 10,000, so that we can able to find out it in hectare. This hectare, 348.9 hectare land will be required if we are installing 220 kV sorry transmission line. So average area of land including irrigated, non-irrigated, barren, etc. So if you will see the cost, it is 16 lakhs per hectare. So we are using this much hectare. So this into 16, so it will cost 55.82 crore. So estimated cost of the line including other cost, it is 56.03 crore. So percentage of compensation against the estimated cost of the line is this much. So this data gives an idea about the cost of right of way, which is 56.03 crore for 220 kV transmission line, because it requires 348.9 hectare length. So as we have discussed, as the transmission level voltage increases, that it can able to replace 1765 kV line can able to replace 400 kV that transmission towers. So that requirement of land will reduce drastically, and hence this cost will reduce drastically if we are using ultra high voltage or extra high voltage in place of high voltage transmission lines. So again, this is the right of way cost for tower area for transmission line. Number of tower location, 320 locations is there of 150 square meter at base of tower. So this much land is required. Cost of land is again 16 lakhs per hectare. So this much cost is there. So we have already seen this is a total cost is 56.03. So 76.8 lakhs plus this will give you the total cost. So land is very costly, and we have to transmit the power for longer distance. So we must prefer ultra high voltage and extra high voltage in place of high voltage transmission line. So there is a lot of research on this, that what are the designing procedure of high voltage transmission tower, also that insulation, handling of insulation at very high voltage or ultra high voltage lines. So this we can able to see just for an idea that as the voltage level increased, that length of the transmission line, height of the transmission line got increased. But also as the height is increases, then also this high voltage transmission line can be replaced. Suppose 400 220 kV transmission line can be replaced by one, so it will take very less area compared to the 220 kV transmission line. So number of transmission lines we can able to just, this is just for an example. So exact analysis we can able to do from the mathematical relations. So to find out how much transmission tower we can able to replace, high voltage transmission tower we can able to replace for such an huge distance. Say for example 2000 kilometer we are transmitting the power. So up to 2000 kilometer, 400 kV transmission tower can be replaced by 1765 kV. So huge that complexity of the power system also get reduced. So we have, till now we have seen that advantages of high voltage transmission. So there are some disadvantages also, that like high voltage lines produce ozones, so which is not good for human beings. That for there is some health problem is there. So due to ozone, there is the cases of asthma and lung diseases are increased. Also that we know that fossil fuel based power plants emit carbon dioxide, and HVAC lines generate ozone, and modern high voltage allow high power transfer with low ozone generation compared to ultra high voltage AC lines. So some references are there, so students may refer for more details. So it also, as the high voltage line high voltage increases, that ultra high voltage replacing high voltage lines. So use of ultra high voltage and extra high voltage increase the corona, the problems of corona and radio interference. So also we can compare extra high voltage AC and HVDC transmission line. So in HVAC and HVDC transmission line, if you will see the as we have started from the surge impedance loading, there is no concept of surge impedance loading in the HVDC. So surge impedance loading criteria is not applied in the HVDC line. It can be loaded up to the thermal limit. So in detail, that in the coming lecture we will compare EHVAC and HVDC in detail. For this particular lecture, we have seen that comparison of high voltage, extra high voltage, and ultra high voltage lines. What are the benefits? How we can increase the power transfer capability? How we can able to reduce the losses, and how we can able to reduce the number of that transmission towers. Not only transmission tower, in fact it reduces all the power equipment. So in all the power equipment will get reduced if we are using ultra high voltage or extra high voltage transmission line. So there are some more benefit with the HVDC transmission that we will see in the coming lecture. We will see in detail. So just for an idea, that surge impedance loading criteria applies only for HVAC, not for HVDC. Thermal limit of 1000 kV EHVAC and 800 kV HVDC lines, if we will compare. So for 1000 kV EHVAC, it is only 15 gigawatt, and for 800 kV HVDC, it is 17.5 gigawatt. So this is the thermal limit for HVDC for the reduced voltage compared to the HVAC. So this is the advantage for the HVDC lines. So we can load more and this particular data is for this diameter, and substation thermal limit for 1000 kV HVAC and 800 kV HVDC are 6.9 and 5.8 gigawatt, which are less than half of the thermal limit of the transmission line. So HVC line become limited by reactive power before reaching their thermal limits. That type of limit is not there in the HVDC lines. So idea of operating DC line up to thermal limits cannot be achieved due to lower thermal limits of the substation, because a substation have the lower thermal limit, like DC thermal limit, grid thermal limit is lower than the AC grid. So these are some facts of EHVAC versus HVDC transmission. We will see in detail. So surge impedance loading increases with voltage level, we have already seen, and the number of conductors per phase. Generally, the transmission capacity should not exceed 2 times the surge impedance loading during normal operation, and 2.8 times surge impedance loading during the emergency situation. So with this, we have come to the end of this particular lecture. So we will see 1 and 2 questions on this. So like some question like why high voltage preferred for the transmission, we have already discussed. Voltage increases, current flow through the line decreases, I square R loss reduces. For 3 phase it will be 3 I square R loss, and transmission efficiency got increased. Therefore high voltage is preferred for power transmission. What is the advantage of high transmission voltage? Decreased percentage line drop, line losses, increased transmission efficiency, reduced volume of conductor material. So how it reduces the volume of the conductor material, that is also very important to know for the BTech electrical students. So we will see that how volume of conductor materials got reduced if we are using extra high voltage and ultra high voltage in place of high voltage. So how high voltage reduces volume of conductor material? So first we will see that. So current, we know that line, if we want to write power in terms of line, so root 3 VI cos phi, where V and I are the line voltage and currents respectively, and the resistance of the conductor is rho L by A. So total power loss will be 3 I square R. So 3 I we can put it from here, and R is a rho L by A. So from here we are getting this equation. So power loss will be equal to P square rho L upon V square cos square phi into A, where area A is the area of cross section. So from here area of cross section, if we want to find, so this will be this divided by V square cos square phi into W. So this relation we are getting. So total volume of conductor material required will be 3 times area into length. That will be the total volume of the conductor required. So we can able to calculate, put it the value of area from the above equation here, and we can able to find out the total volume of the material required for high voltage transmission line. So we can able to see that volume of the conductor material is inversely proportional to the voltage. Also, it is inversely proportional to power factor. So as the power factor also get enhanced, that conductor material will get reduced, that requirement, and direct relation with the square of the voltage. Not only see voltage, it is the square of the voltage. So as the voltage level get increased, that volume of the conductor material required will reduce drastically. So volume of conductor material is inversely proportional to the square of transmission voltage and power factor. Hence, the greater the transmission voltage, the lesser is the conductor material required. So, what we have discussed in this particular lecture, we will summarize here. So, as the voltage increases, surge impedance loading increases, and power transmission capability increases. This we have seen. As the voltage increases, current reduces for transmitting same amount of power, which in turn reduces the transmission losses and improves the efficiency of power transmission. This just we have seen, the greater the transmission voltage, the lesser is the conductor material required. As the voltage level increases, the number of transmission tower reduces, and in fact number of power equipment got reduced. So as number of power equipment got reduced, for transmitting same amount of power. So chances of fault and its failure will get reduced. Also, right of way cost and for tower area, for transmission line design or transmission tower placement, right of way cost will get reduced with increase of voltage. So these are the some important references students may refer, that Rakesh Das Bagmudre. This is from the chapter 2. We have students may refer for this particular session. Extra high voltage AC transmission by Rakesh Das Bagmudre. Also, this is very important paper, that is paper number 2, that comparative study of HVAC and HVDC transmission system. So here students may refer for HVAC, HVAC, that comparison also given in this paper. Also some other paper students may refer, and Ministry of Power, Government of India guideline for right of way for transmission lines, and these documents are available in the Ministry of Power websites for students. Students may refer for that study purpose. These are the references. One more very important references is this, that transmission line design manual. For complete detail, students may refer this, a guide for the investigation of development and the design of power transmission lines. This is the report of US Department of the Interior, Water and Power Resources Service. So this manual is also very important to see the in-depth of the power transmission line design. So with this, thank you. And for any query, student may email on my this email ID. Thank you, everyone.